test run.
It's like a free taste.
Time for fresh thinking. Time for TD.
Opening Bell is sponsored by TD Ameritrade.
All right, here are your headlines before the bell. New jobless claims fell for the third week out of 4, down 11,000. Problem is, we're still at 457,000 a week, and that's not good. The data and earnings giving the futures a boost. All the major indices set to open higher. UBS downgrading U.S. equities as a whole to neutral from overweight. So the bid-ask is higher this morning.
All right, as we count down to the opening bells, you see him there. John Lynch is with us, Chief Equity Strategist with Wells Fargo. Good to see you, John.
Hey, Aaron, good morning.
So we're playing this game today, and we're going to get a scientific answer. We're told over who is more optimistic about the economy, men or women. How do you feel?
Well, I'm pretty optimistic. I think we're in a slow growth environment, and I think the more investors become comfortable with that, we're seeing pretty good guidance from corporations. We're seeing good top line growth. I think that bodes well for cash flows and ultimately economic activity.
All right, so would you buy in right now after the best month gain for the Dow in a year?
Absolutely. I'm still a strong buyer here in the low 1100 range. I think we can finish the year toward the 1250 range.
Best name right now? Any name in particular since you're optimistic?
Well, I like technology. I like the chips and software makers. I think companies are more apt to increase CapEx there before they take big expenditures on employment.
All right, thanks very much, John Lynch.
Thank you.
Got to the point.
All right, once again, the future's pointing, excuse me, to a higher open, probably something on the order of 60, 70 points on the Dow. We'll find out momentarily. The opening bells are coming up here at the big board. InvestNet, ticker ENV, a provider of online investment tools to independent financial advisors and firms, celebrating its IPO today. And at the NASDAQ Premier Exhibition.
Ooh, what's that?
I guess that's the company that organized the exhibition of the Titanic artifacts, which were recovered, etc. Ticker PRXI.
That's interesting, because, there's other companies in that business. The famous bodies exhibit. There are companies
down at South Street Seaport.
Right, and also, and I believe Madame Tussauds. There are other companies in that line of expensive.
I saw the Titanic stuff.
Things.
That was saw it at an exhibit in Washington. It was fantastic.
Wow. I want to see King Tut, which is another one of those ones. The prices on those publicly traded ones, though, sort of atrocious. All right. While our market reporters are standing by, we're up 44 points, not fully open. Well, Mary Thompson, what are you seeing? What stands out so far?
Well, what stands out, of course, is the good earnings news that we've received both from U.S. companies and some from abroad as well. A couple of drug companies overseas reporting strong results for the last quarter, along with Sony. So all of this giving a boost to the markets, helping to reverse yesterday's losses for the Dow, the NASDAQ, as well as the S&P 500. But again, what we continue to hear from a number of companies is they expect the second half to be more challenging. While they do expect growth, or a number of them expect to see continued growth, they expect that rate of growth too slow. A couple of stocks we're watching today. Visa, after the bell yesterday, reporting fiscal third quarter earnings that were ahead of estimates at 97 cents a share. It also reaffirmed revenue guidance of 11 to 15% for this year. And if that is correct, that would put its revenue between $7.67 billion and $7.95 billion. That could put it below current estimates of $7.97 billion. ExxonMobil, the Dow component, coming in and doubling net income thanks to higher fuel prices and the strong performance in its chemicals unit. Earnings of $1.60 a share, beating estimates by 14 cents. Sony from Japan also reporting strong results for the quarter thanks to strong demand for flat screen TVs and other electronic items, including PCs. And Goodyear coming in with stronger than expected results, 12 cents a share, beating estimates by 7 cents. The tire maker seeing strength in all of the regions, including a turnaround in its North American tire unit. The NASDAQ right now is up 18 points. The Dow's up 66. Let's get a check on the NASDAQ, and for that we go to Scott Wapner. Scott?
Yeah, Mary, thanks so much. We have had
had a nice open here, up 0.75%, just shy of 18 points. And most big cap and widely held technology stocks are in the green this morning, led by Amazon, which is up 0.75%. New Kindle coming out next month, $139, lowest price yet. As I said, most of the big caps are in the green. Google, RIM, Yahoo, and Intel. Apple's the exception. It's only down 0.2%. So a decent open for big cap tech this morning. Take a look at Celgene as well. It's up 3%. The earnings beat. They also raised the outlook, but we have negative comments this morning in earnings reports from Symantec and Nvidia, and both stocks are getting punished as a result. Here's Symantec down 10%. The revenues missed. They gave a cautious outlook. Nvidia down 6%. They cut the outlook on weaker than expected sales of graphics chips in the consumer market. Got a downgrade as well. And then Akamai is under pressure this morning, down about 8.5%. Earnings beat. The stock is under pressure, as I said, though, because over the last several months, over the last 3 months or so, the stock's been up 30%. Let's go to Sharon at the NYMEX.
Cleanup efforts are underway from that oil spill, not only in the Gulf of Mexico, but also in southern Michigan. Cleanup efforts underway for a spill that has about 1 million gallons, perhaps even more than that has flowed into the Kalamazoo River after a pipeline break, a pipeline owned by Enbridge Energy Partners. This is a pipeline that was taking crude from Canada to many refineries in the U.S. Midwest, and it may, in fact, be the largest oil spill ever in the Midwestern region. It has Michigan Governor Granholm very concerned about the cleanup operations, saying this could be a tragedy of historic proportions. Meanwhile, Enbridge Energy Partners active in the cleanup effort right now and investigating the cause of that leak. We're not seeing a great impact on the spreads right now in WTI, but we'll continue to watch that to see if there is any tightening of the Canadian heavy crude supplies and the impact that may have here, particularly in Cushing at that key delivery point for NYMEX crude. We're also keeping our eye on Brent crude prices. We're seeing a little bit of a tight trading, but bullish trading today. A lot of traders very closely watching what's happening with the euro and with equities. And Rick, are folks talking about that Michigan oil spill in your neck of the woods?
Absolutely. You know, anything that hurts the environment, of course, is front page news, as it should be. But we also have that issue that we need energy. It gets complicated, just like supply gets complicated. The more of it we seem to bring doesn't seem to, at this point in time, make a huge difference. Although I have to tell you, today the yield curve is steepening. I haven't been able to say that in quite a while. We see longer maturities like a 30-year bond up, you know, a handful plus, half dozen basis points in yield today. 2-year note pretty much not going anywhere. The dollar is under pressure, and of course the blogosphere is just peppered with talk that the Swiss National Bank has been buying euros. So we want to pay particularly close attention to any involvement, and it seems to make sense as we really started to escalate the price towards 131 on the euro versus the greenback. And remember, up to this point, we've played a lot above 130, but we haven't closed on it based on my time zone closes since early May. 29 billion, 7 years at 1 Eastern to be auctioned. Mark Haynes, back to you.
Rick Santelli, thank you very much, sir. Now let's take a quick check on the markets for you right now. The Dow is, as we expected. That's almost exactly what the futures said we would gain at the open. 64, 65 points. On the NASDAQ, the gain is 14 points, and on the S&P, the gain is 7 2/3, all roughly the same percentage gains. Let's get the early tick. James Daly, excuse me, Chief Investment Officer and Senior Portfolio Manager with Team Asset Strategy. And once again, it being the